In today's video, I want to show you the second band out of the 3 that I promised you last week we would do. And today's band is comprised of 12 dots, 11, 12, 11 and 12. And I put little arrows so you can see that that's the number of dots you need to have running down. And you can see here how I've placed the stops. Again, this idea about placing stops in your band is not one that you will find in Cootsley's workbook, but it's something that I've done in order to make it easy for me and for you. So let's draw through this band. I'm going to draw through in a light pencil and then we'll draw it up with a coloured pencil at the end. This band is easy because it follows the rules for how to draw a band. We can basically go through the way we normally would, and it's drawn in one line. So we start in front of the bottom dot towards the left, and then we just draw all the way out to the side so we can't get further. Then we turn direction. Here we are hitting a stop. So we turn our direction. Here we hit a stop again. So here I'm turning, coming back into my band, all the way out to the side till I can't get further. Then I'm turning. Here I hit a stop, so I'm turning and coming back out to the side. Here can't get further, so I'm turning, coming through my band, up in, and the same repeats here. So here towards the top, I'm turning, coming in, turning, 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 coming over, turning and turning and turning, coming down through my band, coming up through my band, and then I'm turning, coming down and turning to the side, down. Once you've drawn a number of these, it becomes rhythmic and you don't really have to think about which way you're going. So I was talking you through the first part, but as you can see, it's one long line. So here I've just gone through the band, and I suggest you do the same in order to just get through your band. Then what I suggest you do is you erase your line and you put points in where you think that points are appropriate, and I'll do that when I draw it up with the coloured pencil. Here you can see that I have erased, first of all, the rounded lines that I went through just to go through my band. Then with a pencil, very faintly, I've gone over my band again and given it the points where I felt there should be points. And what I would suggest you do is, once you've done a faint outline with a pencil, go over it with an eraser so that you don't get the line muddying your colour that you then use to draw up your band. So then I've gone through afterwards, and I can see actually that there's a little point here that I've missed, so I'll just go over that. Where my line crosses, I like to erase that point as well, because when I get to it, there's going to be somewhere like here where the line crosses under, or you gives you the illusion of the line going under, and so you're always going to have a bit where the line crosses where there should be a gap. So I hope that makes sense. So I've gone through the band with the light blue pencil and just made it all the way to the top, where I've given it a different colour, and it's just purely because I think that that will look nice. I've still maintained the going under, going over, going under, going over in the band. So we'll continue down the way. So here I've gone over, so now I'm going to come to a bit where I go under. And I'm using the light blue here. So here I give it that gap, and then I know that when I come down, I'm going over this bit here. So that's where the gap is on either side here. And then here, I'm going to go under, over, and under here. And then over and under. And you may like to, this is what I do when I do these. I actually tell myself as I go through the band, otherwise I get confused. So I go under, over, under, over, under. And that way I know where to continue with the line and where to stop it. As you can see, I go over my line a few times in order for it to get a kind of deeper color. That's just because these are very cheap colored pencils and they don't give off a lot of color. So now I've got down to the bottom here, and I want to have the green at the top matching at the bottom. So here I've come under here, so now my line needs to go over. And then under, and then over, and then under, over, and under, and over, and finally under. And then you can check, does that match that my line is finishing with an under? If I start it, does it go over? Yes. So then I know that that's correct. It's very easy to become confused when you do the over under if you don't. Well, I find that anyway, if you don't say the over under out loud or in your own head. So that's the band for today. I put a piece of paper over last week's band just so that it wasn't going to confuse it. But then you can see here, that's the band we did last week, where we had the 12, 12, 12, and then we erased all the dots afterwards. Here you can still see the dots, and here you can see the points in last week's band were all sort of in towards the center of the band. In this week's band, they're kind of pointing out the way. That's all for this week. I will be back next week with the third and final band of these, and then we'll start some new form drawing exercises.